Hello, everybody. It's Scott again with Zenvy AI. Today, I'm here with Jacob Marshbush he's a broker of record for three offices of Provident Legacy Realtors since 2012. So today, we're going to discuss scaling a brokerage, agent recruiting and retention, how to differentiate your brokerage, leadership and vision, and also AI and technology. So, welcome, Jacob. How are you?
I thank you, Scott. I appreciate that introduction. Yes, and I hope that today brings a lot of value to the viewers of the channel and this video. We could start by what was your first question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I know one of the things we had chatted about before, and I know this comes up not just also with brokerages, but just businesses in general. I feel like kind of like the 0 to 1 is a hard part, like, getting the business up and running. And then the scaling aspect of it, like in businesses, like, hey, getting to 1 million, that's great. Now, how do we get to 3 million? And I think people have these ideas like, hey, in a year we'll be a $10 million business. What doesn't always work that way, right? That's kind of a unicorn situation. Just how to like methodically grow a business. Like the podcast is called Systems Are Sexy. I know it's not cool, but systems make a difference. And that's how brokerages like you grow so quickly. Like, you have three offices, 70 plus agents. So I'm just wondering, as you guys are continue to scale, what do you think you've done well to get to this point, and where do you need to go from?
Got it. Yeah, so that's a really impactful and full of detailed question that I want the viewer, most viewers, if you are a real estate agent or a new owner or entrepreneur trying to open an office or open a team, right? A lot of teams are relevant nowadays, and have an office structure. I want to give you kind of some advice or best practices, if you will. Scaling is in phases. We 13 years into our brokerage, we're at a stage where I feel like it's one of the last stages, further down the line stages from the beginning. Most brokerages, actually, the first 2 or 3 years, they build about 10 agents. It's the owner operator plus, sometimes it's family members, sometimes it's just friends, etc. And it grows naturally. And that we went through that phase too. And then it builds on that, it becomes a team or a structure of different teams, and you go from 10 to about 25 within 5 years. Scaling tends to be a little bit different on the model that you create for your brokerage and how you benefit those agents. Most of the time you're recruiting people that they have established trust with you. You have probably some seniority over certain processes, so you're giving them value as they continue to grow with you. So it becomes like a family oriented growth, which is very, very important to, the principles of why you're creating a brokerage, or why do you want to do real estate or sell more and more homes, right? Sometimes you'll say, okay, well, it's the money aspect of it. Yes, but a lot of brokerages are embedded in our communities to service that community. So we are like the service provider for homes, ownership, building wealth, etc. And I would say, starts with the individual. The individual's company is somewhat relevant in that growth process. So there are companies that you stay stagnant. You're one of 10, you're one of 20. And as you may already know, about 20 to 30% of the brokerages, the number of agents, are the ones that are doing most of the transactions. So you're talking about 70, 80% are not necessarily full-time or not performing a transaction every year. So with that said, so it's your impact, your footprint on the market is that that's small, your footprint small. So a lot of people tend to venture into the realm of wanting to be in a bigger brokerage because they have a bigger footprint. I want to be more impactful in my community or the communities they serve. So I think that's definitely something that starts off with scaling, as they start learning about, okay, it's not all about just how am I going to get paid? What's the commission structure there? But it's a lot of the other fundamental legs that an agent would look for to stay in your brokerage, such as a support system, some kind of mentorship training system, aside from just the AI systems, or like the CRMs, the things that do some work for you, some kind of transaction management software that you provide. All these kind of entail how the brokerage scales up. And the stronger those fundamentals are, it's harder for an agent wanting something else elsewhere because it's very comparative. The top, I would say, 5 to 10 brokerages offer ideally very similar items, if that makes sense. Some more heavily impacted structure on like maybe retention is due to technology or a certain system that they offer an agent. Sometimes it's the environment or collective of those options.
Scaling. So I know we talked about some of the other larger brokerages. Do you guys look at those and say, hey, these like EXP and these other larger brokerages, this is what these guys did well, or this is what we want to do a little bit different? Have you kind of taken some lessons from that?
But yeah, that's a good question. And yes, we have looked at many models. So you mentioned EXP. That's a good model. They have in New Jersey. They have about 35 offices, although they're like technically virtual. A lot of the transactions or a lot of the support comes from a platform they have, agents sign into, etc. And so their overhead tends to be less than a typical, pops brokerage or boutique brokerage. I don't know what you want to call them nowadays, but the smaller brokerages tend to have physical brick and mortar offices, whereas those EXP doesn't. Although they have, like I said, 35 offices and different locations. They do have a big market share in New Jersey. There are 1,000 plus agents in those all those offices, and I think they're owned by, I guess, one big company versus like small franchises like KW does. KW is more, it's different and similar in those ways. So what do we take away from that? We like the brick and mortar option. We like to see face to face with our agents. I like to know everybody that's in my brokerage. There's not a single person I don't know or haven't met. They all have access to me whenever they inquire on something, they have an obstacle. So that's important to us that they have. I should have mentioned this before that I'm doing this with two other brothers in the business. They have real estate licenses. Actually, my younger brother and my youngest brother. Three of us do real estate and we all do different things. We have different personalities. I like to do the structural, mechanical, if you will. My middle brother he runs the school. We have a real estate school. He's an instructor, which is technically higher license than what I have in real estate. Although that's a different, business. It does very well in introducing Provident Legacy. It's called Provident Legacy School of Real Estate. And my younger brother does sales. So we all kind of venture into real estate and we help each other. We pick each other up, if you will. So we have that kind of confident structure because just running a business on your own is very tough. That's why a lot of businesses run in partnerships. I'm very happy that we have a few partners outside of my brothers as well that help us organize and basically scale to where we are now. So it's important that those that of you listening that either you want to join a brokerage that's already embedded into a community that you want to service, that's always a plus. Not that boutique brokerages are not good. They're good if you can find the leader there that's going to be able to help you at least your first 2 years in real estate. It's very important that you get that mentorship, hands-on training, etc. So that's one of the many things that may differentiate us from that boutique brokerage and may not necessarily be much different than like a EXP KW. Although there's other factors I can get into later that makes this a lot different. Then the other thing, like an entrepreneur business owner, you want to be able to cater to new, experienced, and maybe even entrepreneurs just like yourself that want to make a team, want to grow in your group within your realm of I guess the LLC or the brokerage that you create, but want to do it kind of. They want to scale their business, right? So successful teams generally have 2 to 3 members to scale and not to go into too much with it, but basically somebody would do transactions, somebody you may do the follow-up calendar organization, setup, etc. And one could be the face of the process and may open doors to those clients and meet them face to face, be there when they're closing, doing inspections, etc. So
Yep. Now you mentioned something, a couple things there that I really liked about mentorship. I mean, I think everybody at any level really could use mentorship, but especially when you're starting out, to find somebody to mentor you, a broker of record is immensely helpful because you can only read the books and do the training, but to actually have that conversation with somebody is it's more impactful. It's something you had mentioned there about things we could talk about later, but I wanted to touch on that. So how do you guys, whether it's competing for talent or market share, how do you feel like you guys stand out versus the other brokerages?
well, we're not a big corporation. Like we're not publicly, operated. So we're probably owned and operated, and that kind of makes it a little bit different now. But that may change in the future. We don't know where we're gonna stand. Definitely want to scale up to multiple offices in New Jersey. I love the fact that we have two offices in Jersey and one in Georgia. I know it's very strange that we have kind of like that big gap in states. Could definitely be in Pennsylvania, New York. We've looked at these options, but I really want to hone down in New Jersey and find a way to get into three, four, five more offices in New Jersey because there's a lot to do in New Jersey, not just New Jersey, in every state actually. Like the point is that people get into real estate because of the opportunity they have, but they leave thinking there's no opportunity, too much competition. And that's not true. There's just too much to do. There's too many transactions happening, and some with agents, some without. For instance, for example, I know you had some experts on in the commercial realm. There's not a lot of agents that venture into that realm. It's in fact, it's like I think statistically 1 or 2% of all agents are commercial agents or can do commercial deals, which leaves everyone to really hone in on that alone, that skill that's sometimes tedious and scary to venture into because it's kind of like the realm of unknown. But I don't think people or agents should be scared of that. I think they should do more of that. So we want to educate them from the beginning with that mindset that you could accomplish anything. You could sell a business. You could sell a mobile home, which is technically a car in real estate as a licensee. So there's a lot of things you could do. Obviously, property management and so forth and so on. It's very broad. So for those that leave within 2 years, I think they just lack the mentorship and the support system to allow them to properly foster, or it could be, personal matters that kind of got in the way because real estate is a grind. It's hard work. You had to put, it's not 9 to 5 type of thing. It's literally like 9 to 9, you know, and you have to work 80 hours. You have to just everything you think. You go to sleep thinking real estate. You wake up thinking, how do I better service my clients? What areas should I service? What should I do more? How can I improve my business portfolio, my business card, etc.?
Yep. Again, one of the things you had mentioned was about that your brother runs your school and just how that relates to agent recruiting and retention. Can you kind of give us the motivation for the school and what you guys do there?
Yes. So initially, I think because we started with a lot of new agents, we love new agents. We love new agents because they're not tainted by a process of just competition, the people that you're a part of, or the brokerage that are competing kind of against you, taking your leads, or kind of fishing in the same pool, if you will. We wanted to welcome them in an environment. It's like, look, this is a competitive environment, but we are here to help each other, every single agent. So it started that way as a brokerage, and then later said, you know what, it would be nice to also start educating them state level to get them better kind of fitted into the industry. So that's how kind of the idea started. It does have some recruiting elements, although I wish it was higher because state requires that the agency or the school itself offers more than one brokerage. Like I would love to come to I don't even know who's taking the courses, it's just a different company. So I can't reach out to those folks, right? I have to offer the school offers them three or four options to be part of a brokerage. So they could go to any the KWs that are around us, any other brokerages, boutiques that offer to have or sponsor their license. And sometimes we also talk to them. They have an option to talk to us. So it's not like the main recruiting element, if you will, for our brokerage. And we welcome those that get licensed with us because I think they have a higher chance of succeeding in real estate with us having gone through our school, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yeah, so I think a lot of brokerages probably use word of mouth to recruit new agents. Are you guys using technology or systems right now to enhance recruiting, but also you don't want to lose your culture too?
Yeah, so I mean that's definitely a loaded question. It has really good merits. And I want to start with yes, we have tried different ways to recruit. A lot of it is word of mouth. That's kind of the essence of when we kind of went from one phase to another is that word of mouth agents we've worked before with that main became at one point unhappy with their brokerage or misled into something that they thought it was different. So they heard of us, they worked with us, they saw our way of transaction, our way of process, and liked it and inquired on it and became an agent. So we have a lot of we our retention is pretty high in the sense that we've had people here 10 years plus. We've had people 5 year plus, and it's due for the culture. It's due that the ability to talk to any one of the brothers. We have an administrative team as well to get them to where they want to be, where they wanna what they wanna do. As far as recruiting itself, we've tried different platforms. We're currently doing Facebook ads for recruiting. We tried the dialing companies and we've tried different like sources of how to get our brand out there exposure is important for a new brand. I mean, 10 years sounds like a lot of time, but it flew. Like the processes didn't take 1 year to do it. Every day we work on something, whether it's a form, a process that like becomes complete within days, weeks, etc. So having that said, we're always open to new ways to brand ourselves. We've done billboards actually in New Jersey too. It was an amazing year. So so we've tried a lot of different ways to recruit and grow. I don't think one stuck as the best yet. We haven't had like the model that like, hey, this is the best model. I think the best model is really to have an in-house person. And that's what we're seeking now and into 2026. Hopefully that will be a kind of like a cemented process. 'Cause everything we in-housed tends to work tenfolds. So that's important for those that are starting a business as well to try to build something in-house so that way they have a lot more control and accountability for.
So if we could, obviously you guys have had a lot of growth. If you fast forward, let's say 3, maybe 5 years, where do you see your size? Are you looking in terms of the size of the company, geography, impact? What are you focused on as growth continues?
So I try to put a pause. I'm like the kind of the person that pauses before jumping the gun on something. Like my brothers are kind of like the opposite. They'll have a lot of motivation and enthusiasm towards, hey, let's be in this place. Let's grow tenfold. Let's grow 100-fold. I like the ideas, but I like to also grow in principle and having the right coverage. Most brokerages, even those large brokerages, like I mentioned, the EXP, having 35 offices in New Jersey. Well, if you look at all the roster of how many agents they have versus the number of offices, they try to keep it within 65 to 70 agents per office. Yes, there are offices that have like like 300 or more than that 70 base, but on average 70 is an ideal number per office. We're around that, but we have 3 offices. I would like to grow it to closer to 100 before I jump to another office. And I want to grow that office in that same mindset. It's like I want to have a leader there that can step up when I may not be there. I want to make sure our fundamental core values are transitioned to every office. We operate kind of seamless. We have one person picking up all the calls, one message. We train the stay module. So as we grow, I want to keep that consistent. efficiency. And if I could do that without having to kind of put too many things on my plate as far as pressure, I would do that today. I would be in 10 offices in New Jersey. That's what I would do. And I think that's doable actually. In the next 3 to 5 years, I would like to be at least in 5 more offices than we are currently.
Technology, you kind of give us an idea, maybe the tech stack or the software tools that you guys rely on, and maybe how you see AI playing a part in all.
Okay, that's a good question. AI, we have two AI systems. One is an AI lead capture system through our Facebook Marketplace, market, and we have AI kind of through our CRM. So we set it's not real AI. A lot of people will say as like this is an artificial intelligence per like a chat GPT or something like that that comes in and takes over the conversation and leads it somewhere. And the CRMs typically, as you may already know, even better than I would know, they're just kind of created on a script, right? Created on a certain process. Some conversations takes 12 months, some conversations just a week long or a couple of days long, right? So it's just some kind of automation, but it's not technically AI. I would like to use AI, but I think real estate is because it's sales based and client driven. AI is most agents use AI in a different way. They spruce up their listing language. They look at certain forms that they want to go venture into helping a landlord or a seller create some kind of document that maybe their attorney doesn't want to create or doesn't have, or they're just trying to be problem solvers, if you will. So they tend to use AI for that and getting to the bottom of certain questions in real estate. I just don't see AI jumping in that factor unless we have an actual robot that can have the AI in the robot and we could program that robot to do real estate for us, if that makes sense. Like a physical presence as opposed to a meta virtual presence of AI. So for like clients seeking questions about brokerage, yeah, that's nice to have on the website, pop-ups that can answer their questions and get them kind of satisfy your clients right away. So AI is really good with that. I think your part of your question was also systems. So systems, what do we use as systems? We have so far we still like using the Google Suite, which is our corporate kind of platform for emails. Everyone has kind of like the same ending email at providentlegacyrealtors.com. We use the same website at providentlegacyrealtors.com as well with their first name in front. And God bless you. And we have file management, if you will, through Dotloop. Dotloop is again, third party Google Suite. I mentioned third party. Our website is actually our website. I guess that's an internal system, if you will. What else do we have? We obviously have credit systems. We use NTN, National Tenant Network, for our credit systems. I'm not saying these to boost any of them or advertise any of them. They're good platforms, and there's many like them in the industry that other brokerages use. So as long as you have those, the transactional system like Dotloop is great because it keeps us compliant with the forms and documents we need from every single agent on every single file or client they have. So it's very important to have that system, whether you get it from there or e-signature, or there's like a ton of other providers. And the CRM website is important, of course. And we do have internal chat system, talk to each other, which is important. It keeps us updated with calendar events, etc., and keeps kind of like culture driven. I could reach out to any agent for for help and open house opportunities, advertising opportunities, collaborations. That's really one of the many things that we'd like to do together here as a brokerage.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe the last question about that, or I guess if you could automate or you had a magic wand to one part of the business, what would you automate and why is that?
It's hard to say what I would automate. I would love to duplicate the word, like duplicate myself in a way, It's sometimes I would love to automate a lot of things, but automation takes time. you need to make sure the automation is perfect. And not every conversation you have with a client or agent is perfect. So it's hard to automate certain processes. Even on onboarding processes is like an interactive process. It's a one-on-one type of process. And I kind of like that element. So as far as what I would like to automate, I mean, some bills are automated, which is great. Like that things that like I don't want to worry about so much. I don't want to necessarily deal with on a daily basis, and it's usually a transaction that I want to automate as opposed to a process, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what we've seen with AI is it helps to keep brokerages, realtors' sales funnel full. So whether that helps with lead generation or social media, CRM, there's a handful of tools you can use. So, because I feel like what happens a lot with realtors is they spend a lot of time on tasks that maybe aren't revenue generating or just take up time. So you don't want to lose your voice. You don't want to have AI replace a realtor. But I feel like what I've seen and what we've been able to do with some clients is help them automate that kind of administrative work so they can just show up and close deals. And I'm sure you guys are doing aspects of that, but that's kind of where I see AI really helping out. I mean, I've seen it with even outbound AI dialer. I mean, I know it's not 100%, but we've had people that have used that to qualify customers and then put them in a CRM on a drip campaign when they are ready to buy.
Yeah, yeah, we're using that now. We are using that. We do have that through our company called I'm gonna butcher the company. It's leads.io, I believe. And again, it's kind of attached to the Facebook market. We ventured into Google marketing through another software we had at one point. Like I said, we ventured in a lot of like different ways to capture leads for our agents and distributing them. So I think as far as your question goes, we've used those and we have AI embedded in them, and they're great if you set them up in the first like month or so in line with what your brand is and what you want to accomplish with the AI. However, I think it's do I would I want to entertain another one? Of course, because I just don't think like I've gotten one that does everything that we want from that system. We want our whoever reaches out to us is important. They're new to the process, so they're clicking on something they want to inquire on. We need to be fast with our responses. We need to make sure we can convey understood message and then be able to build a connection and rapport with that individual. And that sometimes with AI, it's a trial and error type of thing, right? So I've seen like the ones you're using now, it's fantastic. Like I like the back and forth conversation that's the AI is having on our behalf, but it still needs tweaking. It still needs like it's saying something that, I would have maybe worded different or, would have branded it different. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jacob. This has been really helpful. If people want to learn more about whether they're interested in working with you guys as a client or an agent, what's the best way for people to learn about you guys?
Yeah, the fastest way probably is just to call our office at 201 809 9925. That's our office main line. Any state you call, I'll go there. And, you can always email me or call me or reach out through our website. Our website has a meet the team, meet the leadership team as well. You can see all our agents there as well. So I think that's most people want to do their homework. That's where I would start if I was new to Provident Legacy. Go to our website and check it out. www.providentlegacyrealtors.com.
And thank you, Jacob. Really appreciate the time. It's very insightful.
Thank you, Scott, for the opportunity. Have a good one.